Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fantasycraft: The Last City, presented by You Don't Meet in an Inn, an actual play podcast about exploring obscure tabletop role-playing games with a rotating cast. I am your host and GM for this evening, Austin Ramsey. My pronouns are he and him. You can find both me and the podcast on Twitter at NotAnIn, that's NOTANINN. And you can find my game design work at austin-ramsey.itch.io. I also have a Kickstarter coming up soon, which you can find at tinyurl.com/beamsaberkickstarter. And that'll take you to the pre-launch page now and the page itself when it's live. This evening, I am, of course, joined by Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm playing Dorothy, the Unborn Mage. My pronouns are she or they, and I'm going to be distracted because I'm currently sculpting a new meat child. I'll be with you in a bit.
In person?
Not yet in person.
Okay.
But I'm getting my fingers all up in the rule book right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
code language for last minute leveling
No.
character.
No. Absolutely not.
Technically, she's leveling a spell.
Well, technically, I'm just doing the work so that I don't have to do the work when we're in video res, as it were.
I thought you just had a bucket of, ground beef that you were managing just off screen. That's what I
mean,
It
that's
doesn't matter what I
basically
thought, never
that's
mind.
basically my meat child. So
Also with us this evening is Sasha.
Right, hi, yes. It's me with my extremely leveled, super, all the numbers are right. Madam V, who's a tree person, who has a ship and also a lot of guns, just a lot of them.
Thank you. And of course, last but never least, Hadrian.
Yep, that's me. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm playing Viper, who now has 2 levels of Bloodsworn.
Nice. All right, so who wants to describe what happened last session?
Let's see.
giant scorpions.
Yeah, Viper took I don't know, 8 natural 20 crit attacks from some giant scorpions.
No big deal.
It's all better now.
Is she? What are,
Largely.
what are her wounds?
There was
at?
a lot of action dice healing that happened. Vitality's all the way back up, and the wounds are back up to 14 out of 21 now.
That's pretty good. It's
We found out that Greg was loaded. We found that out because he shot his off his own foot and died, but, we did find that out.
his gun was also loaded.
Hey! It's a bad joke.
Yep, it's a terrible joke. Man died, Austin.
All right. Yeah. That's sort of the gist of what happened. You got into a big old fight in a little valley.
Our one casualty was self-inflicted,
Yep.
and we fought off some giant scorpions and some extra giant scorpions who were also zombies.
But didn't electrocute us at any point, which was weird.
But welcome.
But weird.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
Viper knows is she survived that fight with one wound point remaining.
Yeah, that was a thing. A very close thing. Huh. Roll20 now has a percent on the zoom bar. It's no longer just a vague scrolly thing. Anyways. Okay, so do we have any good... Oh, I should just use one of y'all as the token. Where's... What do we got? I'll just throw Dorothy on here. There we go. Just so we know where y'all are. Yeah. Okay, so you rested for... Or you got through the night alive.
Rest, probably strong word.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So you get 1 vitality per career level per hour of rest. Let's see. So after the fight, you probably rested for another, we'll say 4 hours. So y'all are level 7. So everyone regain 28 vitality if you aren't already at your max. Nobody gain any wounds back. And you likely won't for a while because you gain 1 wound per day of rest. And y'all aren't resting. Y'all are hiking. As you continue along through the foothills towards the monastery of the Old Worm at the base of Mount Atlas. You're being led by your guide, your sparked guide, the Northerner. And you've got your crew with you, 1 fewer now. Question. Y'all bringing his body or nah?
I'm going to plant him in the ground.
Dorothy's just gonna... I mean, you don't sleep, so... You're just gonna...
No, I'm gonna use my spell. Now that I have...
Christine just wants to show off the new spells.
Yeah.
No, I have been waiting to use the spell forever, and if I never get to use it, I will be mad. So, Verdure. Which causes me to, when effect occurs in an area, I can either increase crop range, which I don't need, remove plants. Oh wait, no, this is all just causing crops to grow or remove. I can't like move earth, which I thought I could. Which I guess I could.
You want to start a Greg farm?
Not really, no.
You would like a crop of Greg.
No.
Come this fall, you would like to harvest Greg when Greg becomes ripe. What is happening?
No, fine. I'll just leave Greg's body to rot then. All right, fine.
It's compost.
Yeah.
You can turn them over on your way back to find some tasty bugs.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure someone here has a shovel.
I don't think anyone packed a shovel. No one was like, y'all were planning on hiking to like a monastery. No one packed a shovel. Everyone was like, we're just going overland, so we need like our food, and there's gonna be sparked, so we need weapons.
I guess I could send somebody
I
back
don't even have a pickaxe.
with the body, but that seems really dangerous.
Okay, fine. I will use the spell to cause plants of my choice within 1,000 feet to become thickened and overgrown. So I'll like plant a garden over him.
Just hide the body with tall grass.
Yeah.
Or
that's
form a
fair.
beautiful
Func-
garden.
I mean, functionally, what's the difference from burial?
What?
honestly?
Hang on. He wasn't sparked, right? He's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
No.
because the spark did not kill him. He killed himself.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So level 3 spells.
The one good thing that came out of his death. Well, that and I guess y'all getting paid.
Technically, it's his sister is getting paid. If we ever meet his sister.
Okay, I make the roll to cast it. So some very nice flowers grow on, like a mound of like moss grows up over him, and a bunch of flowers bloom up on the moss. And then a family of mice move in and have a whole other story.
Everyone's like the rest of the crew after you do that are sort of like standing around his body, and then I think Maybell looks at you, V.
Oh shit! Right. Okay.
Hey, he was here. Now he's not. What'd you think?
What's to be said about Greg? He truly was a member of the crew. He has more gravitas than I'm summoning right now.
Yes.
And
I mean, if you want to abstract it, that's fine.
I'm sure I say some truly diplomatic words about Greg the Gaff, and his fall in battle, and yeah, we'll make sure that his legacy lives on more than he currently does.
I know V says it more
Beautifully.
Yeah. You want to give me an well? Actually, let's find out. Give me an impress roll.
Lord, okay.
See how openly sarcastic Cat Moody is?
Give me that. Give me something. This is 17. That's alright.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's do a resolve roll for the crew at large. See, well, not at large, obviously, but those who are here. See how they take it. Yeah, okay, they are reassured. They get a 12 and you got a 17, so they aren't like this is a crock of shit. They are like, all right, if something terrible is to happen to us, we will be remembered, and that is heartening considering where we are headed.
Yeah.
So
I guess we could have buried him at the Death Temple, but
it's also a day's walk.
it is also a day's walk. And we've got this pretty mound of flowers that, I hope I get something like that when I die, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Viper. I think now that things have calmed down a bit after the fight, you can see that there's not like, yes, obviously Greg is dead. You could tell this even without your connection to the old worm.
Yeah.
That is clear. You don't need magic for that. But there's also a lingering isn't quite the right word. You can feel the old worm's presence in Greg's body in a way that you haven't felt before. That said, I don't know if you've encountered any corpses since you had your encounter in the other temple, have you?
Only Sparked and almost Otis.
Yeah.
But not quite.
Yeah. So, and you already know that Sparked are sort of a special case, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Would the fight with decency have counted?
Didn't
That was before the temple.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
yeah.
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 Definitely a lot of corpses there, though.
Yeah. So there is, like a shadow has like some negative connotation. There is a presence over Greg's corpse that you can sense. I guess you can sort of give me a notice roll.
Okay. Oops. I sent that to the GM, but it came up 26.
Yeah. Okay. So you can. It feels like the old worm is looking out through Greg's body. Not just that it is here, but that at least Greg's. It's 26. Yeah. So you get the sense that this is a matter of proximity, and at the least, and might also be connected to your presence here. I don't think you are able to quite tell if this is like something the old worm can do from just any corpse, or if it's because you're, a day's walk from the god itself, as far as y'all know, or if it's because one of the gods touched is in the presence of this body. But yeah, you are being observed.
Interesting.
I don't know if you're going to do anything with that or not, but there it is.
Well, I'm trying to think what might be appropriate. I'm trying to think of maybe something I could do with Billiam, since he's going to be sort of next in line for being death touched. I think it's probably just going to be another scene of like a guided meditation with him and trying to help him feel it out.
So I guess you're doing that instead of resting for the rest of the night, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so then I guess don't heal that 28 vitality.
I'm already back at full already anyway from refreshing.
Well, there you go.
Viper doesn't need to sleep. He just likes to sometimes.
She just likes to a lot most of the time.
Okay. So, words have been said, specters have been noticed, and Greg has been put to rest. It is now the next day, the next morning, and it's time to set out once again. You're moving through the foothills of the mountain range, as you'd taken an alternate path to avoid the sparked ahead that the northerner had spotted and scouted out for you. And they've gone ahead once more to continue scouting. Let me just give a notice roll for them. Let's see or search rather. It's 10. They get a natural 1.
Yowza.
And an 11. And they come back and they approach you, V, and they say, Captain V, Madam V, there are no sparked on the path ahead. None that I have seen.
Fantastic.
I do not know of this monastery that you've described that is your destination. Do you have an idea as to its location?
Do I?
I think y'all know it's at the base of the largest mountain in the archipelago.
Is
The
that
base
really
can't
all
be
the
that
information
wide.
We fucking took?
You know, the base of the largest mountain in the world. How many square miles could that be?
We didn't, I don't know, pick up a map?
Did y'all? I think someone might have.
Let's see. I do, in fact, have a map.
Well, there we go.
Yes, map of the archipelago.
Thank God.
Okay. So, yeah. With that map, you are able to, I mean, it's a map of the archipelago. It's not a map of, this island. So you have like a rough idea of where it is. Sort of like a, not quite here be monasteries. But like, the symbol for the monastery on the map is so large that it's hard to get like a super clear idea of it. But that's fine. You're searching for it throughout the day. Actually, why don't you all give me a search roll? This will be a group effort. Actually, wait. With the group effort, only one of you rolls. Whoever has the highest bonus.
Pretty sure that's going to be you, Dorothy. Because I have 1 rank.
Oh no.
For a total bonus of 2.
V, what's your search?
It's a 1?
Oh no.
So what did you get, Dorothy?
I got a 17.
Okay. So since
Oh wait. What's dog search? Or I can summon a
Given the scent of death, he'll find it in no time.
Honestly, Dorothy's a more effective captain than I am.
let me pull up oh god. Where is he? I have too many people.
you've done this to yourself.
I know.
Next time you're just going to play a fighter and not have to worry about anything complicated. Not have to worry about
What is
more
this
than just
thing?
2 sheets.
What is this thing you call love? That's gonna be my goal. Each and every one. Next time.
See, the key is to have a bunch of NPCs that make Austin play them.
Hey Sasha, I'm going to just send you the cruise stats.
Oh no!
Here's 30 characters for you.
Oh, I can't wait for the fucking stream to slow to a crawl as I fucking pick through each of these for all of those turns.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm taking so long here. I was just trying to work through Foxglove's new stats.
Is Foxglove search better than a 6?
Well, no, I wasn't. Sorry, I was working through Foxglove stats, and now I have to look at my new advisor stats. So she has confidence.
Is this another member of the demon squad?
Oh yeah, I have access to a lot of demons right now. Outsiders. They're outsiders. It's fine.
Sorry.
Intelligence.
Call them the Friends of Lucifer.
Threat level 7. So when they have a confidence level, how do you figure out? Is it just a general +7? Like if their confidence is 7.
What's the competence rating?
Confidence is 8.
8. Okay, at level 7 they have +7.
Yeah, so it's just a general +7.
Yeah, to any
Okay.
skills that aren't a signature skill.
Okay, so +7, and then their intelligence modifier is 16, so that's an intelligence modifier of +3.
Yes.
Okay, so +10. Okay, I'm going to summon my nerd demon. And this one's a bigger nerd than the previous nerd demon. I haven't spoken to this one for a while, so it's going to probably be a bit testy that I'm calling it. But we need some help.
Oh, you're right.
So... Okay, I just make the roll to summon it, so yeah.
What does it look like as it appears?
Just like the biggest nerd that you can think of. It is flying. Its glasses are legendary, and it is super put out that I've called it. Like it is like in the middle. It was in the middle of taking a bath, and it had like a nice, relaxing book that it was reading, and it's wearing a bath cap. Yeah.
You. What do you want? I was in the middle of something.
Well, now you could be in the middle of something else. Isn't that exciting?
No.
Let me see if I,
I was
I'm
just
tainted.
relaxing. And holds up the book, which is like a calculus textbook.
Oh no, it's a romance novel. It is a trashy ass romance novel. But it's not something like.
All right, well
we
then the lovers
non-outs-
are equations.
Yeah, no, it's not anything that we as like non-outsiders can understand.
It's a calculus textbook written like a romance novel.
Oh yeah, but no, it's like it's super.
It's a
nasty.
non-Euclidean romance.
It's slash between Pythagorean's theorem and parabolic or quadratic function. That's the one I'm looking for.
I'm just give me a sign.
No, that's. I mean, I guess Pythagorean's theorem is trig.
I went to art school anyway.
Sine is a math thing.
What's that you got there?
None of your business. What do you want?
So me and my friends, they're all friends and they love me.
What's the crew's reaction to this?
Just an almost completely nude demon outsider. Sorry, appears with a
Got some
backpack with a
strategically placed
great-
soap bubbles.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a lot of crossbows leveled at this thing. Lance definitely has his glaive out and is sort of standing in front of everyone to act as a bulwark. I think Tika has a notebook out and was taking notes on what Dorothy was doing while casting this spell.
Well, I have hidden spells, so it wasn't very like it wasn't very noticeable, but it is like basically I called its name into the wind and waited for it to be drawn to me.
Well, then in that case, Tika is trying to remember what happened immediately before this thing appeared, as well as like what its appearance was like.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we are looking for the Great Worm's temple, and I know you know some things. We're just wondering if you can help us find it.
So, question: these outside this is me, not the demon. These outsiders that you summon.
You do have a distinct, huge nerd voice that is not your regular voice, Austin. You're good. Like,
Yeah, it's completely indistinguishable.
It's the same thing. That's all I hear anyway.
Kidding.
I'm not.
Oh right, I now remember what I was going to ask after getting dragged for my voice.
Why are you such a bitch?
These outsiders, are they tied to like any of the gods, or are they like their own? Do they have their own deal going on? Yeah.
I think that there are outsiders that do have particular religious affinities. The ones that Dorothy has access to are more tied to the swarm god, but they're not like they're like manifestations of elements of the swarm, and they're not like loyal subjects. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're aspects.
The outsider world, as far as Dorothy understands it, they're like personifications of concepts and ideas.
Okay. So then I got a question for you. The swarm is a major god of chaos, beasts, and wilderness. So what does this individual represent?
This individual represents like the concept of like the idea surrounding the concept of the sage, like the hermit that lives in the wilderness and like shuns society and just seeks knowledge. Like that's his deal as manifested as a giant nerd.
Good pull. All right. Okay.
And a lot of it's theorized that a lot of like their physical manifestations in our plane are also based a lot on the people who are able to summon them, their own perceptions of that concept. But it's hard to say. Except that, you know, like there has been situations where two spellcasters have called on, like, used the same name to call upon what they feel is different manifestations. But it's also, spellcasters don't like to share their secrets.
Two feuding spellcasters summoning the same outsider at the same moment, and it just appearing in the middle like, all right, do I kill you both, or... Okay. So... Alright, so what is it?
I just said, we're looking for the Great Worm's temple, and you are good at knowing where that might be, and taking us there, maybe? And when I say maybe, I mean I actually have power over you, so maybe you should just, like, do it.
Fine.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you.
It, like, folds its book shut, tosses the book over the shoulder, and it just like it's like about to hit Amber, and then just like poofs out of like existence. And this creature's like eyes glow, and it shoots out like a translucent beam of reddish orange energy, and it just rotates like a lighthouse, like its head does.
Should I roll a search check?
Yes.
Viper's like pushing the tip of Lance's glaive down. He's like, she does this way more often than you would expect. It's fine.
This is what she means when she says she has friends.
Yeah. It's weird, but you'll get used to it.
He rolled even worse than me. 15.
Okay. So he does that. And then he turns and he looks at you and he says, "Really? You need me for this?" And just like points without looking with one arm. And you all look over there. And
It's covered by like a bush.
yeah, there's like a bit of foliage between you. I think what it is that now that he's pointed it out, you see that it's become a bit overgrown. That there's like a couple of fruit trees around the temple that haven't been pruned, and there's some bushes and whatnot that probably would have been, maintained but have grown out and concealed a path. But the real thing that he's probably complaining about is that, well, now that it's been pointed out, you realize that there's sort of a number of corpses. Well, at this point, how long does a body take to become a skeleton if it's out in the open? Probably pretty fast, right? Because bugs don't get sparked. So that means that, and neither do like small animals. So that means that they're picking them clean. So yeah, there's a number of corpses like sort of around the outside of the area, and outside of the temple entrance.
That's a classic RPG. Now we're playing a fucking RPG. Hell yeah.
It crossed my mind that I could be like, "Y'all ready for a dungeon crawl?" And then I was like, no, I'm not running a dungeon crawl. I don't like running them. I don't like playing them. I'm not going to put other people through them. Plus, then I'd have to actually make like an extremely detailed map, and that's not happening.
You just use the Tomb of Horrors.
Right. So he turns to you and he says, "Will that be all? Can I go now?"
Just a second.
Ah.
I'm figuring out what he has access to.
His tail like unfurls into a stool, and he just sort of like sits down on it, crosses his ankles, and the book reappears in his hand. He notices that y'all are staring at him, and he says, "What? Never seen someone read a book before?" That wouldn't surprise me.
I have the great thing, which Meta V is also doing, is of like, okay, here's the biggest nerd anyone's ever seen. I know I have questions. I cannot think of a single one right now.
Lance turns to you, Viper, like not fully, just sort of like his head a little bit, and he sort of like stands up on his tippy toes, which is how he, like, that's when he wants to like whisper something in your ear.
That's the signal for bend down, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so once you're close enough, he whispers in your ear, "Can I pants this nerd? Like, this guy deserves a wedgie. In the worst possible way."
Lance, you would have to put pants on him first.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If you want to, we can do the thing where I'll get down on my hands and knees behind him and you can push him.
I think it'll have to be the other way. You're a bit tall. Even kneeling, I don't think that's going to work.
Will you just quick quickly check around the temple's entrance and make sure that there's not any like wards active or any. Yeah, I know. I listen. I just do it.
So what is this mechanically?
I guess I would like him to do a search check and then also detect magic.
Okay. The detect magic, is that spellcasting or spell-like ability?
That is spell casting. I guess I gotta look up. I'll do the search check first. Also, he has the keeper ability that he can re-roll this if it's not. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I guess I will take the 13. God, he just doesn't want to be here.
3 and a 1. This dude is not feeling the spirit of teamwork today.
Okay.
This
And
is why no one likes
what's
you.
his spellcasting rating?
His spellcasting.
I'll tell you what the bonus is. Just
Call a dude in on his day off. You get what you deserve, honestly.
Described as someone who lives in the woods specifically to seek knowledge and separate himself from. You summon Henry David Thoreau. He's
Or the
he's waiting on
Unabomber.
his mom. He's waiting on his mom to bring him a sandwich down by the pond.
I'm not familiar with that reference. It's a natural spell. Does that? What does that mean?
Let me. Where is it? Natural spell. The NPC can reliably produce one specific spell effect per scene.
Okay, then yeah.
No spellcasting check or spell points are required. The spell save DC is equal to. Well, there's no. Let's detect magic. Casting level equal to the NPC's threat level. Okay. And casting detect magic then.
And then detect magic. What is that? 60 feet penetrating cone. You sense magic and magical characters and objects. You may learn the discipline of any spell you sense with an additional knowledge check.
Okay. So he's sort of like the eye beams come out again as he looks at the temple
That's what the glasses are for.
and looks over the temple, looks over the skeletons around the temple, turns back to you and says, "Are you serious? This is the main monastery for the old worm, and you're wondering if it's magical?"
I'm asking if there. I know it's magical. I'm asking if there's any like magical like geas on it or traps. Anything that can cause harm to living beings.
There's nothing that's going to cause you harm. The bodies are preserved, and frankly, there's nothing dangerous inside of there, magically, that is dangerous for you.
I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for
You in the, like, mortal sense.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is that it? Can I go?
Yes, yes.
Good. And it just disappears.
You know, like a pop of a soap bubble.
Well, Dorothy, I gotta say that one, not my favorite.
I don't think he's anyone's favorite.
Yes.
Not even his mother.
So, that's what you get. This place is very magical. The bodies are preserved in some fashion in spite of being skeletons. Viper, why don't you give me... well,
Please don't say search.
I was going to say investigate.
Okay, investigate. Much better. 21.
Okay. So, it, you're looking at like the area around the temple, relying upon your natural instincts as an investigator, and also as you're looking, you realize that these bodies have a connection to the old worm, which is not surprising, considering what the nerd demon said about them being preserved. But clearly, that preservation was not a Lenin in his glass box kind of preserved, since they're skeletons now. And then you put it together that there is damage on these bodies. Some of them have been burned down to the bone in places. You can see that their bones still have scorch marks in spots. And as you look around the area, you can see spots in the foliage where there was similar burn marks, and things just didn't, grow. Well, they grew back eventually, but it's clear that there's, one section of grass that is 2 feet shorter than the rest of the grass, kind of thing. And then you find some other corpses, which have different sorts of wounds. These ones have wounds more familiar to the sorts of injuries you've seen in the punch bowl. Broken bones, sword wounds that have gone bone deep, that kind of thing. And what you're able to put together is that there was a fight here between Sparked and people who were not Sparked. And the people who were not Sparked, in spite of, dying, did not get back up again.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed dead.
Okay, we'll make sure that this information is made clear to the, at least to the other two, anyone else that cares to listen. Any idea how long ago this happened? I don't guess it really matters too much.
I think it probably happened around. Yeah, I don't think with a 21 you can't get specific enough.
Right.
It was probably either around the same time that Enclave shut itself in, or within 2 years after that. So between 7 and 9 years ago.
Well, that is possibly good news. Because it means that where the worm has dominion, the worm overrides the Sparked. At least coming back. So that's something. I think we might be on the right track.
I hope so. How's Northerner doing?
Northerner was very curious about the nerd that got brought forth.
Mm-hmm.
Was not I think when everyone else drew their weapons, I don't think they have a weapon. I think they probably got a walking stick. So they probably held that in a threatening manner, insofar I think they just sort of copied Lance.
Mimicking, yeah.
Yeah. because they got the idea that this thing might be a threat to you people, and also understood obviously that it was not sparked, and thus could possibly be a threat to them as well. But then after that, and you're like poking around, and you've made the statement about sparked, they are like, again, curious. Like, they haven't been to this place. They don't know anything about what happened here. They don't know why these people might have become sparked. In fact, I think they probably say as much. These individuals, they were more than the size of a rat. I do not understand why they have not joined us in our city or roamed the lands like those we fought yesterday.
Well, my best guess is that it has to do with the dominion of the old worm here, who we are seeking out. We're making this trip for.
And who is this old worm? Do they understand us?
Well, that's a good question.
It's a very good question. We should find out, actually, if you're amenable to a little bit more adventure. You should come with us and see if the old worm will speak to you.
I am known amongst my people for my curiosity, hence why I rarely stay within the town. I am amenable to coming with you.
Fantastic. Let's see what the old worm has to say.
Okay.
I guess now we see if they just drop dead when they step into the temple.
So, y'all go inside the temple then? Okay. Dorothy, you gonna cast light? Because it is dark in here.
Sure. Let's see. I realize I have an abundance of light spells. I don't know why I did that.
What do you mean?
Like, I have 3 different spells that produce light.
What are they?
Dancing lights, flare, and glow.
I mean, those all have very different purposes.
Yeah.
Because flare isn't like a lantern or a torch. That's like a flashbang.
No, but the glowing lights or dancing lights are kind of the same as glow.
The idea of using flashbangs in place of a flashlight.
1 minute.
And you really got to get that cop vibe going.
Yeah. I'm gonna cast glow. Glow 1 on.
Your eyes.
No.
Glowing moose. Glowing moose.
Yeah.
Glowing moose.
To be clear, Gentleman Moose can't fit in here.
Oh.
Like, this monastery, I think, is, at least the entranceway is big enough for, the root walkers in the group. I don't think y'all have any giants. Oh yeah, you have 1 giant with you. Oh no, wait, I think it's all root walkers. The root walkers in the group to fit like inside, but it's a little cramped, like, but Gentleman Moose, way too big to come inside.
Okay, I'm gonna cast it on Foxglove.
Glowing rat. Glowing rat.
Yeah.
Glowing rat.
So she lights up 30 feet sphere of bright light and then another 30 feet sphere of dim light.
Okay.
And I am not cursed.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. What color's the light?
That sickly red.
Oh, lovely, just like your taint. Okay. All right.
Foxglove makes it work.
So, with this sickly red light providing illumination. The initial room you come into is not dissimilar from the waiting area that you saw when you visited the Cult of the Quiet Worm outside of Enclave. You know, there's a simple seating area. There is a statue of the symbol of the old worm. This one is larger and more ornate, but it is still pretty simple compared to a lot of more, shall we say, popular gods. But notably, that icon has been tipped over and is on the ground. It didn't break because it's made out of bronze. But there's more corpses in here. Again, skeletons from years of being picked clean by vermin of various kinds. And Viper, I'm going to let your earlier investigate roll ride. And yeah, it looks like after the battle outside, it moved indoors. You can see that the doors that lead deeper into this sanctum, they've been broken down. There's bodies in the doorway, skeletons. I think there's so many skeletons in the choke point of the doorway that it's incredibly difficult to pick out which ones were sparked and which ones were like the monks here. I think the best way that you're able to do it, in fact, is that some of the monks still have on pendants that have the icon of the old worm around their neck, or simple rings bearing that similar icon.
Yeah. I mean, also skeletons don't stay intact for very long after decomposition, so it's a real mess, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's more than one in close proximity.
Yeah. Of note, though, is that the would they? Yeah, the skeletons of the monks, they're still intact. The bones are still held together. If they died in such a way that a bone was broken, then that bone is still broken, but their joints haven't fallen apart, right?
Right.
Environmental storytelling, you say?
Do you have questions, V?
No, I just think it's fun.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to fix the icon of the worm and set it back upright
Okay.
on its dais or whatever.
Yeah. You pick it up and lift it up into place. Billiam comes over and helps you when he sees what you're doing. He gives you a knowing nod. He gets that this is in the contract, so to speak, now. And you put it up in place, and the icon is cold to the touch once you get it back in place. It was room temperature when you were picking it up, but as soon as it's upright, you can feel the chill run through your fingers.
That old familiar tingle.
Mm-hmm. And I think actually, because Billiam isn't as far along as you are, Viper, I think he gasps, and I think you feel the weight of the grave as well. Not in a smothering sense, but in a the weight of years kind of way. you know? Suddenly you feel much older than you actually are as the chill runs through your hands. But like I said, you're farther along. You have a very different relationship with breathing than Billiam currently does. And
Yeah, Viper has a lot of lives that she can feel on her hands.
yeah. And so he's like, whew, well, that was bracing.
Yeah, that's a word for it.
Does that happen often?
Not, I mean, in day-to-day life, no, not often coming into near direct contact.
All right. Whew.
Usually that only happens when you stop and think about things for a little while. I try not to do that too often.
I think Lance just laughs at that. And Maybell says, "Ah, so that's how you found your way to our home in the Punch Bowl."
Finger guns.
They're on top of the grave of graves. It only makes sense that we ought to feel chill.
Yeah. So what do y'all do?
Oh, I reckon it's time to take a meander. Time to waltz around this temple until I find something that looks like a big worm, then pull it out of the ground.
Okay.
That was basically my childhood. Just looking for worms and pulling them out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
It's so
see.
different from shooting womp rats back home, you know?
Viper, why don't you give me another investigate roll, because this would be a group action, but we all know yours is going to be the best. I'm pretty sure.
It's a 21 again.
Okay.
Because I have thoughtful nature, which means 21 is minimum.
Yeah. Okay. So are y'all like sticking together or spreading out?
I don't want to leave any of these standard characters alone by themselves. I will say
Man.
that much.
That's a good... Because I was gonna say, we have enough people to, like, split up and still have a buddy system going.
Yeah.
I could cover more ground, but yes, if anyone is going to fall into a spike trap and die, it is all of these tiny, tiny children.
Yes. I think that Dorothy's like literally clutching at Madame B's skirts.
Dorothy having a little crisis.
I mean,
Just a mild crisis.
can you have a crisis if all your life is just a crisis?
Like Viper said, just try not to think about things too much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a good plan.
Bottle that up, throw it away.
Real tight. And yep.
Just keep that beautiful head empty. That's what I always say to myself in the morning.
My head is full of rat's nests.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
Okay. So y'all stick together in one big clump.
I was gonna say if this is like a labyrinthine sort of setup, we spread out to always remain within voice range of the next person.
Tolerant
we're
distance,
never,
yeah.
Okay.
So we're never like completely separated, and we can form like a longer chain, I guess.
Okay.
Use the buddy system. One hand on
Yeah.
another shoulder.
Okay, so what you find as you're looking through and investigating, this is, unsurprisingly, a temple to the old worm. There's a lot of the stuff that you saw. I mean, you didn't get to explore the barrow back at Enclave. You were purposefully kept out of it. But now there's no one living to stop you. So you're welcome to trespass all you want. So yeah, there's a place for preparing bodies. I think there's still some bodies on the slabs in there. Some of wherever you go, there are signs of fighting, right? Like the sparks just flooded this place, and there are bodies everywhere.
Does it seem like an intentional siege? Is 21 an investigate enough to suss that out?
Yes and no. I think that you can get the sense that the Sparks didn't come here with battering rams or but there's no way of knowing with what remains if they were fighting tactically.
Right.
Yes, there was a whole lot of them drawn here, but I think also just by what y'all have observed over the course of this game, that
They have a tendency to just kind of do that.
Yeah, they're just drawn to people, right? So it's impossible to tell if they were sent here by someone or something, or if they were drawn by something other than the people, or if it was just because there were non-sparked here that they could try and convert, right? But there is no there's no tool use going on.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, I think you can see on the doors that have been broken down, there is old blood on them, where whatever it was that smashed through was clearly just bare fists.
If you guys would like, we could ask them what happened.
Dorothy, I'm gonna need you to be slightly more specific.
I could go to these dead bodies and summon their spirits, and we can ask them about 3 questions each.
Now there is something quite thrilling about performing necromancy in the Temple of the Death God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to it, mind you, but it does give me the heebie-jeebies.
Well, some corpses can resist it. I could make my request as gentle as possible and leave the door open to you don't have to.
Well,
just see if send a text you up, and
Which is a metaphor that we all understand.
Oh, you've definitely gotten whispers in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
hey, Viper. Just in your head, and be deep.
Sleeper voice, are you awake? Yeah, a gentle nudge should do. I think you should do it.
Okay, considering where we are,
Well, what's the worst that could happen? It could summon the death god? Oh no!
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm just saying, be
Gentle.
careful.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's gonna take me about 10 minutes to cast the spell, so.
All right, I'm gonna circle up, circle the wagons around Dorothy while she's doing this. Get the
Okay.
crew ready for I don't know anything.
I'm going to,
That's the command. Is just be ready for anything.
Yeah. I'm gonna run outside, get some grave dirt, and then use the grave dirt to write some sigils on the ground surrounding.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say probably any dirt in here counts as grave dirt.
Yeah. Write some sigils around the body, about communication and home and safety. And then I'm going to quietly chant for a little bit, I guess. Be like, hey, we're in your home, and I know you've been dead bit, but like, would you want to come and talk, maybe? I guess that's like the extent of my spellcasting chanting. Just try to talk up these corpses.
But it's in magic words, so it sounds very fancy.
That's so spooky. I do have one level of taint after this.
Okay. All right.
So I guess like you slowly see the build of the
Yeah.
of the sickly red energy pouring
Well,
out
if
of me.
anything was gonna do it, this seems appropriate.
Okay.
And so there can be a saving throw if the dead does not want to come back, and its will negates.
What would the DC be?
DC would probably be 15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I don't think... Actually, hold on. Okay. So, it passed the will save, if it's DC 15. So you can sense it, like, fighting against you. Well, not fighting against you. It's not like the spirit is unwilling to come back. More what it feels like is trying to, like, it is through a window almost, because it you get the sense not that it is being like held back, or like that that the spirit is leashed or caged in any sense, but simply that there is a barrier between its body and its spirit.
Keep in mind, this is not. I'm not reanimating the corpse.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But you can feel that there is like a we'll call it a latch on this window between you and the spirit. And you could open that latch and then open the window enough with the help of someone connected to the old worm. You get the same kind of you get the same kind of feeling that was around these bodies. Well, you're familiar with death to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you get the same. It's got the same flavor.
Viper, I think maybe you could help me here.
Yeah,
do you wanna
before you even say anything, she's like on a knee next to you with a hand on your shoulder.
Yeah.
How are you assisting, Viper?
Viper has no magical abilities at all.
Well,
And her heart is pure.
Other than
Well, importantly, her heart has a whalebone in it.
Yes, that is true.
Could be resolve check. Because resolve is used for prayer.
Is it? That seems appropriate. I do have one step on the path of death,
Mm-hmm.
miracle path, so that's like literally connection.
Yep.
The only actual magical ability I have from that though is Death Watch, which just allows me to know if things are alive or dead. But the prayer thing sounds like that might be a thing to do.
Okay. What does this look like as you are assisting Dorothy? And Dorothy, how do you incorporate Viper's assistance?
I am going to try my best to hold her hand. I'll have my hand in hers.
Okay, yeah. So what what Viper does, is like it's like the meditation from the temple where she sits in the lotus pose, but she gets Dorothy like standing on her lap and stares into her eyes, and Viper just stops breathing again. And gonna do our best to have a communion.
Okay, give me the resolve roll, Viper.
It's a 13. I'm gonna throw an action die on that.
Okay.
$23.
Nice. Exploded. Okay. All right, Dorothy, you're gonna have to cast that spell again.
I can only cast it once per corpse.
There's no shortage of those around here.
Okay, I guess we'll just like gently move that corpse and put another corpse into the.
Well, the corpse you're moving sticks together, like I said.
Okay, I do cast it, and I do not get tainted.
Okay. V, while this is going on, what are you doing?
That's a fine question.
Because remember, this ritual has been cast twice, and it takes 10 minutes each time.
Okay, well, I think I stuck around to watch for the first one.
And you're like, oh, I've already seen this. I've seen this episode.
And I figured, you know, that they're gonna knock on a bunch of doors before somebody answers, so, what if I just kind of wandered off for a bit, and... Yeah,
Exomancy
yes.
is so boring.
Yes. I love the idea of Madame V just being like treating this temple like a curio shop.
yeah, you know. I think I'll see if the Northerner wants to go for a stroll. And meander about and see what can be seen.
Okay. Why don't you give me a search check there, V?
Oh boy, I would love to. Oh boy, there we go. That's a 7.
Okay. I'll come back to you in a minute.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, so, Dorothy. Like I said, you feel through Viper, Viper's presence opens the latch and allows you to lift the window. And you're able to talk to the spirit through the gap in this metaphor. And it doesn't greet you or anything, but you can tell that it's listening. I think the Does anything happen to the body once it's successfully cast?
Well, since you have to have an intact head, I think it is like it gets a semblance of life and intelligence. So like the spirit returns to the corpse, but it's not like a true resurrection esque. Yeah. It also can make a will save to resist my questions if it doesn't want to answer.
Okay.
And it will only know what it knew during life, including the languages it spoke.
Okay.
And it can't converse outside these specific questions. Answers are usually brief, cryptic, or repetitive.
Okay. So I think the eye holes of the skull glow red, the same color as your eyes do. And the head with the dry rasp of bone on bone turns and looks into your eyes, Dorothy. It doesn't sit up or anything. It doesn't have that much motive power. But it has enough to look at you. And there's definitely some, like, gasps from the crew who are still around. V, did you take anyone with you other than the Northerner?
If I did, I don't know who it would be.
That sounds like a no, then.
Okay. We have only a couple of questions to ask. Does anyone have anything they wish to know?
Sasha, if there's questions that V would have left with the group before she wandered off, that's fine. I'm not going to be like, Sasha, you got to keep your mouth shut because V's not here.
Oh, cheers. Was this a siege? Is one. Was this... Did y'all... did this feel intentional? And also where is the god physically in the temple? And, can the death god talk to other gods? Would be my 3. But I'm getting lost, so what do I know?
You're a brave leader.
I'm just the captain.
So, are those the questions y'all are going to go with, or were there other questions that you... I mean, those were V's suggestions, but V's not here right now.
I guess if Viper had questions, it would be, is the worm safe and where?
Okay. I'm going to wait for...
Dorothy's the one asking the questions.
I was going to say, like, until Christine, like, confirms what the questions are, I'm not going to, you know...
Mm-hmm. I'm also going to be very careful not to do any pleasantry questions at it.
How's your mom and M's?
How's it been? Is it alright on the other side? How are you feeling?
How you been? Thank you for returning to speak with us. Was your attack a planned siege?
The voice that comes out of the skull is unnervingly normal. Undoubtedly, it sounds like this person did when they were alive. It's quite unsettling. And they say, the Sparked, they just came out of nowhere all of a sudden. heard them coming through the grasses, and then there were more than we could count. I don't know what happened outside, but once they got inside, it was tooth and nail and sword and candelabra and chair leg, and it was real bad.
They were after.
Also, as a GM, if you feel that I haven't answered your question because I am getting too much into the narrative, let me know, and I will.
Well, no, I think it's appropriate because it says that the questions can be cryptic or repetitive, or like you're it's not like a GM hint sort of thing.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
After returning from her mild meditative trance, Viper sort of taps Dorothy on the shoulder and says, well, it's a good thing they don't worship the quiet worm over here, right? This one's way more talkative than the last death priest we met.
Viper, please refrain from asking rhetorical questions right now.
The skull turns to Viper and says, yes, it is good. No.
The skull says, oh, I tell you what, I've heard of them silent worms. Man, they just don't talk at all, do they? My cousin said, yeah.
Where's the point of power within this temple?
I haven't been there myself, but I know that in the deepest, oldest part of the mausoleum, there's something deeply sacred that the high priest would take the inner circle to on holy days.
Which body laying here is the highest priest?
That's a pragmatic question.
It's of the inner circle.
I don't know where the high priest is. Things were real confused right before I died.
Could have picked up his skull and just get.
Well, things the corpse knew in life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Please return from whence you came and rest easy.
The glow in the eyes fades, and the skull sort of like settles once again.
When we're done here, if we still exist, we should probably have a look at their burial rituals and take care of these bodies for them.
If anyone in the archipelago has extensive catalogs of rituals about death stuff, it's gotta be here. So, I think that can be done.
Yeah.
Viper's like, yeah, we'll handle it.
That's lower on the list, though. Okay. Dorothy stands up and dusts the grave dirt off of her tunic. Or toga, I guess. Okay, so should we keep poking around the bodies and ask what the object of power is here, or should we make our descent? Where's Madame B?
So, V. Where have you found yourself? You and the Northerner looking around, just poking into places. I think that you, like... Wait, hold on a second. What are you using for a light source?
You borrow.
Just my sunny personality. Oh, I feel like I have.
I'm sure we have a buttload of torches.
Yeah. One of them.
I don't think so, actually.
One of the torches from the buttload is what I'm using.
Viper definitely has a load of torches in her backpack.
Oh, okay.
As well as a lantern, which either of which could easily have been taken.
Okay.
Lantern sounds nice.
Alright, so you've got Viper's lantern. And you're just sort of poking around. And it doesn't... You don't realize it for a couple minutes until you feel the, like, taste in the air changes. Or has changed, rather. You don't know when it happened. Might have been a couple doors ago. Who can say? And then you, like, look down. You realize that the floor is no longer, like, worked stone. It is now raw stone. I mean, rather, it's no longer, like, tiled or, like, blocks of stone. It is now stone that has been chipped or mined out.
Now it's just a hole that's been hewn.
Yeah, hewn. That's the word I'm looking for. And you shine your lantern around, and you see that the ceiling here is higher than it was in the earlier areas. So you point the lantern up, and the entire ceiling, like, is a big arch of skeletons.
Pretty spooky.
Oh. When you say that it's an arch of skeletons, was it built using skeletons? Are these inlaid, or were these just kind of stuck, a la the skeletons back in
Give me an investigate roll.
Viper's hometown? Great, because I have -1 in investigation.
Oh boy! Is that the first? Is that the
One and it
first 0
falls.
that we've rolled in this campaign?
Someone's gonna get a blood curse.
Looks fine!
You rolled a 1 and you have -1. My goodness. Okay. Let's see.
Tasha's back, baby, after last session. Pulling all them
I have a quick question before all the skeletons fall on top of Madame B and she dies. Are any of the skeletons posed so that they're playing the xylophone on their ribs?
Christine
That's
asking
what I want
the
when I
important
die.
questions.
Well, I want to know if there's precedent for it or not.
Is one of the skeletons using the spine and skull of the other skeleton like a saxophone?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a band, is what we're asking. Is there an orchestra pit above me that is going to kill me for all of the grief that I've given them over the years?
God. What?
What do you do on a 0, Austin?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me actually look up what happens when you crit fail on investigate.
It's not even a real number.
Madam V looks at this vault of skeletons and is like, that doesn't seem important. And continues.
What skeletons?
Okay, so the critical failure, the character is stumped and may not attempt to decipher the same puzzle again during this scene.
Well, I'm sure that's not important.
The puzzle of death.
And if it's an identify with a critical failure, the character is stumped and may not attempt to identify the same item again during this scene. With research, with a critical failure, the character is stumped and may not attempt to research the same topic again during this scene. So, basically, you have no fucking clue. I think what it is like you look up and you are so unnerved you just immediately like point the lantern back down and go, nope, not looking at that.
I didn't know there'd
Nothing
be
up there.
dead people here.
Nothing up there, I don't know what you mean.
This
Yeah.
is too
That's
much
just a
to deal
regular
with
roof.
right now.
Just a normal, super normal roof. Got nothing on it. Don't want to look at it. Don't need to look at it. It's just a roof. There's nothing up there.
You know what? In fact, I think I'm actually going to give you some stress damage. I think that seems
Hell yeah.
reasonable. I'll give you, let's see, what's a good number?
What is so weird about it, though? Because I have seen a roof full of skeletons before, but there's something real fucked about this one. So what is that?
I think when you looked up, you looked briefly. The play of light of the lantern may have, confused what you saw, but it looked as if they were reaching for you.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, did it look like a giant skull made of skulls?
That does sound like me, doesn't it? So you're going to take 2 stress damage,
Alright.
and that means you're going to have to make a will save of DC 11,
Well,
or become shaken.
it's up here. Unfortunately, I did not make breakfast this morning, so it's just what it is. Yeah, it's a 5, so I'll take... Or it's a 10 total, so I guess.
Yeah, so you lose your stress damage, and you take a level of shaken. And so what that means is you cannot take 10 or 20, and you suffer -2 penalty with all attack checks, as well as charisma and wisdom-based skill checks per grade suffer. You lose 1 grade of shaken at the end of each scene.
Okay.
Okay, so it only lasts a scene. That's not that bad.
Yeah, you'll collect yourself in a bit.
Good.
Yeah. So what do you do, V?
Well, I shine the lantern anywhere else, I think.
Yeah, you look to the sides, and you can see that the arch completes down to the floor, and quickly look away, I think.
Gross. We're gonna leave this room now.
I think the Northern is like, why are we leaving? We have just arrived.
This is a bad room that nobody likes to be in. So we're not gonna be in it now.
Why does no one like to be in this room?
We don't have to talk about it.
Why don't we have to talk about it?
Because it's not important.
I would like to know.
It's not important. It's not important, Northerner. It really doesn't matter. And no one will ever care or want to know about it, including yourself,
I
including
would
me.
like to know.
Nope.
Yes, I would.
This feels like
Why are you not answering my questions, Captain V, Madam V?
Northerner. So how do I explain this? You know what dying is, right? You know what being killed
Yes.
is? Okay. That room is full of it. Just like full of dying and being dead.
Oh, to be clear, you are still in the room.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well,
Yeah, you were like a ways into it when you realized, hey, this room is different.
okay. Well, I'm gonna pick a direction. Is there like an exit out here? I will pick any door and I will power walk towards it. I'm gonna let you decide whether or not that's back towards everyone else or further into the mountain. Because I got a 0 on investigate.
Just roll a d20.
Okay. 3.
That's a 3. Okay. All right. So, Viper and Dorothy. you finished with your ritual. You've realized Madame V is gone. I think Maybell says, well, she's... What did you tell the others, V, when you left?
Simply that was, stepping to stretch my legs. I wouldn't be further out than hollering, so just give a shout when you were done.
Okay. So Maybell says, the captain wouldn't have gone far. She said she would stay within hollering range. She was just needing to stretch her legs, since it seemed that this ritual would take some time.
Viper's not above hollering.
The
Okay.
quiet death.
Alright, so you start shouting for V. V, give me a notice roll.
Love to. I love to roll dice. It's my favorite. Notice. Where's that? That's here. Oop. That's a 5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You hear echoes of Viper's voice, and you start following them to get back to your group.
Well, unfortunately, we can't do any more exploring now, Northerner, and we simply have to be getting back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna let that notice check ride for the next thing.
Oh boy, thanks so much.
It's not. To be clear, this is not like, oh, you walk off a cliff and die. This is like details that you aren't getting about.
That's so much worse.
So
The lore, Austin.
you
Need those grimoire cards.
All right. In that case, the eagle-eyed viewer would notice that, like, as V is like power walking through these doors, eyes like staring straight at the ground, trying not to see anything.
I do not see it.
That like she is going through like increasingly ornate doors.
Oh no.
And then eventually, V, you go through one last door that you really have to haul on to open. And I think part of the reason you have to haul on it is that there's a bunch of like skeletons, like almost barricading the door with their bodies. And you just like haul the door open and sort of sweep them away. And I think the Northerner helps you like open the door when they see that you're struggling with it. And you go through, the two of you, and you close the door behind you. And as the door shuts, it like booms and echoes very loudly.
Why
Like,
did we close it? It just felt like the courteous thing to do.
I think you get through and then you ask yourself that.
Great.
And
Why this door of all the doors did I decide to close it?
I felt that draft. I was like, oh no, that's just gonna get worse.
yeah. And the sound of it closing echoes like in a way that you're an opera singer. You know, like acoustics. Yeah. You're in a very big room. And you point the lantern up, and there is something writhing in here.
Yeah, that's good.
And that is where we are going to take our break. So we will be back in about 5 minutes. See y'all then.